Well, Nicholas started experiencing severe migraines when he turned about 6 years old. And I really didn't know what the cause was or where it came from. He would just, all of a sudden, whether it was being out at the beach or having a tutor come to the house, he would start with saying that he needed to close his eyes, he needed to lay down, he needed to be in the dark. He couldn't move, he couldn't listen to any sounds, and it would be accompanied by vomiting, and it would go on for hours, and Nicholas had to go to sleep. He just basically had to take a nap. Sometimes it would occur in the later part of the early evening, and he would just go to bed fully clothed and wake up the next day as if nothing had happened. And watching this was very, very disturbing. He actually also experienced an episode at his therapist's office, and she had said she thought maybe it was a vision issue.
Like an ocular migraine?
Correct, and also where they thought that maybe both eyes weren't functioning together, and we took him for vision therapy, and that hadn't helped, and we thought maybe stress related due to the loss of his father. That's why he was seeing a therapist, and it was just continuing nonstop on vacations. He couldn't enjoy a birthday party. He couldn't enjoy a sporting event. He actually became socially withdrawn. And I was extremely concerned. And then I was...
How long did this go on for?
Until I saw you.
Right, so he started...
So I started seeing you last year, maybe, a little bit over a year ago, perhaps.
Well, how long, since the beginning of it, did you have to deal with it? How long was he having headaches prior to getting his Atlas adjustment?
About 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, about 4 years.
How many migraines was he having a week?
He would have definitely a good one a week. There would be sometimes he would have 3 a week. Yeah, and I took him to see a neurologist because his father passed away from colon cancer, and my antennas right away go up. And the first neurologist said it was nothing. The second neurologist told me he was prone to migraines, and I just had to kind of accept it. But I couldn't watch him suffer like that, and then you were highly recommended to me, and when we came to see you, from the first visit, that first day, after you took the x-rays and you showed me how he was sitting, how his position, how his posture was, without even letting Nick know how his posture was, seeing that it was slightly, curved and rounded, and then after you just, doing a few of your treatments and seeing how his posture started straightening up slowly, I was thoroughly amazed. But then watching Nicholas and listening to him say, "Oh my gosh, my head feels so much lighter. I feel, warmth flowing through my head, and like the veins, everything started opening up, and then all of a sudden the headache started to disappear."
All right. So Nick, let's hear it from you. When you were having a bad migraine, what did it feel like?
It felt like a lot of pressure going into my head, like by the back.
Was it like sharp, or try to explain what it felt like?
It kind of felt like if somebody kept pressing.
Like squeezing your head? Like in a vice grip?
Yeah, kind of.
And it made you feel what? And could you stand up? Could you play? Could you do anything?
No, I had to lay down and close my eyes.
Yeah. Did it hurt your eyes when you had it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were also throwing up with it?
Yeah.
So that went on for 6 years?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
So the thing that fascinates me most is how helpless you feel as a parent.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit how that was, like your experience with going to doctors and them telling you just live with it.
Here's the thing. I always try to look for alternative because of his dad, and because I had experienced some sort of success with it. And to me, just, talking to a regular doctor, I don't care how much of a specialist and head of the hospital you are in neurology, you're not giving me an answer for my son. And this was really, really hard for me as a mom. And, I would be, for example, Nicholas would go to a birthday party. I'll never forget this. And I got a phone call, that they went to see a movie, and please, can you come and get Nicholas? He has a headache. So I would have to get in the car, and Kenny was with me. Kenny's my companion. And Ken had to carry him out of the theater, and I was crying. Nikki was laying down in the back of the car, and I was crying. And I just felt that, what's wrong with my son? How can I help him? And I know it's, there's nothing bad. There are no tumors in his head, but why can't I help him? And, was it food related? No, it's not food related. It's not allergy related. And I didn't know, I felt so frustrated.
Yeah. And willing to do
anything. I would have traveled anywhere.
Yeah.
I would have gone anywhere for it. I would have done anything.
Right.
My parents even, find the best specialist. Where do we need to fly him to? What do we need to do? And then we found you.
Yay. What's it feel like when you get an adjustment? Tell us what it feels like when you get off the instrument and what begins to happen.
And then I'll tell you after.
Yeah.
My head gets really light and I feel really good. I could go play.
Awesome.
When we drive home, after coming to see you, Nicholas is in the back of the car and he's just fascinated. He's just like, Mommy, I feel so good. And it's so hard to understand because the adjustment is so minor. Like, you're not cracking his head, you're not doing any severe movements to him. He's just laying here calmly and enjoying your company, and then he's going home. And it feels so good for me to hear my son tell me, Mommy, my head feels so light, I feel so good. And even if he does get a headache sometimes, it's very minor, and he feels good.
So, other people what would you say to other people that are having these problems?
Well, I would first of all say don't give up, and come and have yourself or your child evaluated, and try at least and see, because I've only gotten positive results from coming here.
Awesome. You want to say anything else, Nick?
Thank you.